After spending 2 decades in a marriage, the thought of a trivial infidelity never crossed my mind. I had witnessed others' affairs, but it remained distant from me, and I took solace in that. In our younger years, before our son came into the picture, I had battled with jealousy relentlessly. Zhenya possessed beauty, intelligence, and a captivating spirit that enthralled me. But with time, she became an exemplary wife, leaving no room for jealousy, and I found comfort in that. 20 years of marriage had been celebrated in September, and a sense of relief washed over me. Our son had grown into an adult, pursuing his studies at the Institute and even taking up part-time work to gain independence. It brought a tinge of sadness, but on the other hand, my wife and I were entering a new phase of honeymoon-like bliss. I still gazed at Zhenya with admiration and desire. She had not lost her allure. She remained alluring and stunning. I couldn't fathom those who complained about the lack of intimacy with their spouses, for mine was anything but lacking. "Dad, I'll need the car tomorrow." My son's voice interrupted my thoughts one day. "Why?" I inquired. "No reason," Ilyuka hesitated, looking away. "Just for work." "No problem. Just inform your mother so she doesn't make any plans. You were supposed to take the car in for inspection next week." We had 2 cars in our household. One was mine, and the other served as the family car, which my wife primarily used. However, our son now required its usage as well. Though Ilya didn't frequently take the car, I decided to reschedule the inspection for his convenience. After all, it was an integral part of a young man's life, and perhaps he wanted to take someone out on a date. A week later, as I stood in line for a technical inspection, I searched through the messy glove compartment, frustrated with the disarray. My wife and son had insisted that the documents were there, but I hadn't checked right away. Something fell out, but I didn't pay much attention to it at the time. Eventually, I found the documents and absent-mindedly picked up the fallen item from the floor, only to discover that it was a condom. Grinning, I placed it back in the glove compartment and decided to look under the seat. I wondered if there might be another one lying around, and to my surprise, I found an empty package under the seat. I disposed of it and made a mental note to discuss keeping the car organized with my son. During dinner, I decided to share my discovery with my wife. "You know, our son doesn't just use the car for transportation," I teased. Perplexed, she asked, "What do you mean?" With a mischievous tone, I continued, "I mean, do you remember all the fun we used to have in the car when we were young, while our parents were at home?" Her voice filled with interest, she quipped, "Wait, did you witness something firsthand?" Chuckling, I responded, "No, thankfully not. But I did find condoms in the car." My son Zhenka choked on his drink and hurriedly reached for a glass of water. "Well, let's not make a big deal out of it," I reassured. "You're right," she replied. "We wouldn't want to embarrass him. Besides, it might have just been a mistake." I agreed with her to some extent, deciding not to address the matter unless it became a recurring issue. A week later, when my wife had a flat tire and the car needed to be towed to a tire shop, I had to pick her up after ensuring that everything was in order. It was during this time that I noticed there were no other forms of protection in the glove compartment. "Son," I began one evening, finding Ilya unexpectedly at home. "Have you broken up with your girlfriend?" "Which one are you referring to?" he inquired. "Do you have more than one?" I chuckled. "I don't have a girlfriend at all, so I'm not entirely sure what you mean. What's the deal with questions like that anyway?" "Well, I found a condom wrapper under the seat, left behind by you. I assumed you had a girlfriend, but since you don't, you're still doing a good job of protecting yourself." "Wait, what condoms? What are you talking about?" "Just regular ones, son, in the glove compartment under the seat." My son's eyes widened in surprise and horror. "I never keep them in the car. I always have them on me, for that matter." His silence conveyed more than words ever could. Although, "Well, no, that can't be. Not your wife. Are you sure, son?" Unfortunately, yes. It was an uncomfortable conversation with my son, and disappointment lingered in our words. I broached the topic with my wife without any preamble. "Who is he?" I didn't even wait for Ilya to leave the house. "Who?" "Yes, your lover? Who is he? My wife cried, appearing deflated and somewhat aged. Ildar, our new employee. I've been supervising him for 2 months now. We go to the properties together, show them to the buyers. I honestly don't know how it happened. It was only twice, nothing serious, just for fun. I didn't reside at home for the following couple of weeks, trying to come to terms with everything. 20 years of marriage down the drain. Ultimately, I decided to move out to avoid doing anything foolish. Is Ilya staying with you? Zhenya inquired when I came to collect my belongings. No, he's renting an apartment. My son also chose not to communicate with her. I didn't endorse his decision. She was his mother. Although she hadn't cheated on him, Ilya was hurt and in despair, and understandably so. In one fell swoop, Zhenya had obliterated a once happy family life and found herself estranged from her own son.